Realty of America. And today we are going to get into selling your home for the best price. Now, if you're watching this live, feel free to go ahead and drop questions in the comment section. If not, and you're watching it pre-recorded, I'm going to go through this as quick as possible. It should take me between 20 and 30 minutes, but this specifically is supposed to be for you guys to go ahead and put your house on the market with confidence so that you could sell it for the highest price possible. Now, I'm doing this live, and people will be asking comments. So if I stop to answer a question, hopefully it relates to you. But let's go ahead and get started. So the very first thing that I want to point out here is that I'm a realtor again with Realty of America. I've been in the business for about just about 10 years or so. Okay, there's my information, my phone number, and all that. But in today's deck, what's going to end up happening? Oh, and by the way, marketing director for the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. I'm a top producing team member at Realty of America, AI enthusiast and love of social media, and my wife is on my real estate team. Okay. In today's live, what we're going to actually learn about is we're going to learn about how property is calculated. We're going to learn about ways to increase your property's value. We're going to learn about pricing your home right. And as a bonus, we're going to talk about things you can do to help improve the curb appeal of your property. And there is also going to be a free download that I'll point you out to so that you can go ahead and download even more information about how you can list your home for for higher and get the best value out of it. So there's a lot of stuff to cover in here, a lot of stuff to cover. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay. So the first thing we're going to cover is how property is actually calculated. Now, this is super important because a lot of people in the industry, or a lot of clients in the industry, they go on ChatGPT and they go, okay, I got an idea. And then they go and try to figure it all out. And then when they talk to the realtor, they're like, okay, I want to sell my house for $1 million. And the real estate agent's like, it's actually going to end up being 350. So in order to combat that and to make you more comfortable in why I'm giving you the price that I'm giving you, I'm going to give you the definition of what comps are and what they actually are in the real world. Okay, so comps in real estate are basically recent sold, pending, or active homes that are similar at a subject property in location, size, condition, and features. Basically, here's what it is. We go to your house to look at the house physically for a reason. We want to make sure that we know what the computers don't know. And what do I mean by that? If you go online right now and you put your address into a computer because you want to find out a little quick idea of what your property may be worth, there's no physical human being standing inside of the house taking a look at all the extra work and details that you did. And unfortunately, they're not there to figure out all the stuff that you missed or have been neglecting. So when it comes down to value, a realtor goes in there because they have worked the market, they've been in houses in the area, and they know more or less where your house is going to fall within price range. And also to that fact, they also know what you can actually do to make sure that you're pushing your home's value in the right direction if you have the means to do so. And when I say that, I mean if you monetarily have the means to actually go ahead and get that done. So let's talk about online home evaluations. You go in the computer, you type in your address, you hit enter. The AI bots take a look at all the houses around you. I'm talking about they look at the trailers, they look at the land, they look at the buildings, they look at the houses, the distressed properties, the new constructions, and then yours. They slap them together and then they say, here's how much your house is worth. On average, studies have found that when you do that, you could be off, okay, on average, 2% of your property's actual value. So you might think your house is worth, 390 when in fact it's worth 399. And the only way that you can for sure get the right value is if you have an agent like myself go to the house and actually do a home, a home evaluation, right? So I want you to take a look right now at these photos, okay? And the thing is that I picked these photos on purpose, okay? You'll see the one in the upper left-hand corner, nice house. And then the next two, distressed properties. The one on the bottom is a condo. And then the one on the right kind of looks similar to the one on the upper left. When I'm doing comps, when I'm looking at properties that have sold within the most recent year. Hopefully, it's more like we're taking a look at what's sold in like in the last 6 months. I'm using that information to judge where your house ranks amongst everything else that is actually sold. Something that you need to know is that when I'm doing these comps, I'm not looking for houses that are active on the market now. I don't care that your neighbor's house is on sale for 500,000 and you really think yours is better and that we should do it for 510. I am looking to see what actually sold in the last year, actual money that got transferred over because people had came to those properties and agreed to pay X amount of dollars. The transaction actually happens, and then it gets recorded that the sale has been made. Those are that reason specifically is why when I'm doing comps, I look at sold. I don't base it off of houses that are for sale now or that are pending under contract. We don't have any proof in how much the houses are actually being bought for. We have to look at what houses are are actually like done and sold with, right? So if you look at this, you'll notice that if I was doing comps, I would compare the house on the upper left hand corner to the house in the lower right hand corner. I wouldn't compare it to the condo. I wouldn't compare it to the distressed properties, of course, because those are different animals on their own as it stands anyway. Okay. When we go inside the houses, we're looking to see not so okay, we're looking to go in there to see how old everything is, like whether or not you updated things. We're also going to see how well you took care of things, even if they are older. You will notice that the house on the left obviously looks like it's still in the 90s, and then the house on the right is a recent renovation. But the good news is for the house on the left is they took care of the property. It's very clean. The cabinets look fantastic. Stove is in good condition. Even the flooring's okay. The ceiling's painted white. There's a working light bulb in the stove. That's all going to represent and translate very well to a buyer when they're visiting the house. On the right, that's actually, it's obviously redone. So what ends up happening is when we're online looking at comps, and we see that a bunch of houses sold, but these houses that sold look more like the kitchen on the left, and these houses here look more like the kitchen on the right. That'll help us, put into perspective of what your house could actually potentially be worth, provided that we're looking at the ones of again that have actually sold. So let's look. We're also looking at little details like what you see on the screen right now. Doorknobs, like we want to see that they're actually intact and they're working. We want to see if there's any chipped paint, cracks in the paint. We want to see if there's any cracks in the actual what is that, like in any cement work. And the reason why is because if you're walking up those stairs, that's a hazard. So if somebody has an FHA loan, automatically they're not going to be able to buy that house because of the tripping hazard that those stairs, the tripping hazard vibes that those stairs give off. The peeling paint, believe it or not, on an FHA level is a big issue on its own, regardless. If an FHA home inspector sees that, they are going to say, "Hey, we're not, unless you scrape and paint, we're not going to go ahead and allow the bank to borrow out the money because it's FHA. There's certain rules and regulations." So, for the sake of you selling your house, okay, for the sake of you selling your property, you want to make sure that if you want your pool of buyers to be vast, you want to take care of the FHA inspection issues prior to putting the house on the market, so that people don't just show up and say, "Hey, you wanted 400? We'll give you 380 because we found this big list of FHA home inspection issues." As a realtor, it's my job to help you evade all that nonsense is what I like to call it. The other thing you need to understand is that buyers and agents work together on the offer price, meaning that if I'm selling the house for you, and then here comes an agent into your house with their client, they are literally going to sit there, look at each other, and say, "All right, Barbara, I think we can get this price lowered by X amount of dollars because if you notice the kitchen, it's completely outdated. There's chipped paint, and the garage door is falling off. So we're gonna go ahead and hit them for 15,000." And if you think one agent is the only one that is good that is having that conversation, I guarantee you that if 10 people walk into your house with their agents and you have those issues, all 10 of them are going to go to their little office, or they're going to get in the car and they're going to talk about probably more or less the same things. And the conversation is going to be about nicking your price down, for the sake of looking good for the client and making sure that the buyer is not overpaying for a property that hasn't been taken care of. So that's a real thing that happens. I mean, I do it with my clients. Okay. What you also need to know is that at the end of the day, it's really us versus the appraiser. Okay. It's the homeowner, the agent versus the appraiser. Now, why do I say that? Even though the buyer's agents go in there with their clients and then they make the offer, the real fight is in making sure that the appraiser sees the value that you are selling the property for, so that they can tell the bank, hey, go ahead and give them the money that they're claiming that this property deserves, because I took a look and I actually think that, it's a good investment for the bank to make. And then they go ahead and say, this property will appraise at X amount of dollars, or they'll say it's at value, or they say, hey, this property isn't in fact worth it, it's underappraised. And then that's a whole nother ball game that you have to deal with when it comes to the negotiations of selling your property. So that was part one. That was just part one. This is step two. Ways to, here we do it like this: ways to increase your property's value. Okay, so you're going to put your property in the market, but what do we do just to make sure that when we do put it on the market, that it's actually worth all the money in the world that we want for it? We lived in it. We we want to benefit from it. So what do we have to do exactly to benefit from it? We're going to have that conversation literally right now. So there you go. Take a screenshot of this. Okay. This is really, really, really simple. Okay. I'm not going to read the whole list, but I'll read off a couple just to get your mind going. If I say, hey, go change a couple of things about your property to improve it, if I just said that, you would have no idea what I was talking about. But if I sent you this list, which I normally send my clients, you'd be able to see and have a lot of ideas and look at me and say, thanks a lot, Antonio. Thanks for giving me this gigantic list that 99% of it has to get done. As soon as people see this list, they automatically go, oh, all of that's wrong with my property most of the time, right? Patch holes or small wing dings. You hang up stuff on the wall, like I got this whiteboard behind me. There's 2 holes in the walls holding it up. You got to patch them if you really wanted to. Secure loose handrails or towel bars. Believe it or not, part of the FHA inspection requires that if there's stairs going up or down the basement or out in front of the house or to the yard, those handrails can't wiggle. They have to be completely tightened and sturdy, so that nobody can fall over. I've literally seen appraisers who just walk, get out of their car, they walk up to the house, they wiggle the handrails, and they go, oh, I hope this isn't an FHA. And then I'm like, it is FHA. And they go, oh, well, it looks like I'm gonna have to come back after they tighten these handrails. And it's like, oh, I told the seller to do it, they just didn't do it. And then all of a sudden there's a negotiation of making the seller pay for the appraiser to have to come back, because the person with the loan doesn't want to pay out of pocket to have that appraiser come back again. So it can get crazy. Clean or replace HVAC vent covers, recaulk tub, showers and sinks, replace old toilet seats. I mean, this stuff is pretty much easy stuff, but if you take care of it, it'll help you with the home inspection that's coming later on. And as you can see, we got the people here painting in the upper left hand corner. They look really happy. The guy's switching out his old incandescent bulb to an LED. That's a really good idea. On the bottom left, you can see somebody kick the screen or the glass door. Just fix it or replace it. And then they're tightening up the leaky faucet down there, which, believe it or not, if there's anything that people don't do, it's tighten up their leaky faucets. Even though they know they're selling their house, all the time I get people going, oh, I didn't know it was leaking. But then like there's a pool of water, sitting everywhere. Now, pro tip, okay, this is a pro tip. The best return of investment comes from fixing your kitchen, your bathrooms, your mechanical systems, your roofs, windows, And if you have a finished basement, in some markets, finished basements will matter. Okay, so we can talk about that a little bit as well. I'm not telling you that you have to go out and redo your kitchen. That is not the purpose of this live right now, or of this video if you're watching it after it's recorded. Um, it's If you've kept up with it, fantastic. But if you want to put a little bit of money into it so that you can get a pretty good return on your investment, fix your kitchen, fix your bathroom, make sure that your HVAC is working, is the condenser outside working, is the duct work is secure and it's not leaking air. Has somebody came over the house and made sure that the furnace system has been cleaned out and working? How old is the roof? Does it need to be patched? And then windows. Is there a broken window, or do any of the windows need to be repaired because of just years of wear and tear? And then if you like actually finished your basements, fantastic. Just make sure that they're decluttered and clean. You don't have to totally refinish your basement if you're trying to sell your house. It's actually worth having a conversation with a real estate agent like myself, because I will tell you straight up, like, hey, all the properties in your neighborhood have finished basements, and you would like 450 for your property. Without your finished basement, it looks like we're going to be at 400. And then you can say, well, Antonio, what can we do to push the envelope so that we can try to get a little bit more than 400, given the fact that every other house around the surrounding area has a finished basement? That's a conversation that we should be having, right? So let's see. And of course, I'm going to tease you with beautiful kitchens, beautiful basements, beautiful bathrooms, and then roofs that have been redone. And if you look at these pictures and you say to yourself, "Oh, wow, that's amazing," that's the type of feeling that you want to induce in all of the people that are walking into your house. Everyone that's coming to see it, you want them to feel exactly the way you feel right now looking at these photos. Like, wow, can't wait to buy that house, right? And it doesn't matter if your place is not as new as some of these new constructions. You just make sure that it's clean and it's tidy. Now, favorite part of this whole deal here, we're going to talk about if whether or not your town requires a pre-sale home inspection. Okay, because the concern here is that some agents don't know that a pre-sale home inspection is, if it's required. Sometimes they say, let's list your property for the sake of just putting it on the market, and they never check to see if whether or not there is a pre-sale home inspection. Now, why is this a big deal? I want you to imagine that I put your property in the market and I don't check this. You put up the property for 400,000, and then a week before the closing, the attorney calls and says, "Hey, where's the pre-sale home inspection that's required by the township?" And then I go, "Oh, I didn't know the township wanted a pre-sale home inspection." Now we have to postpone the closing until the town's inspectors can show up. And then when they show up, we come to find out that you have about $15,000 to $20,000 in repairs that need to get done. And they're going to let us know if whether or not those repair requirements by the town are transferable to the buyer, or if the seller has to do it themselves. And then the town's going to tell you which actual repairs have to get done by a licensed professional that is registered, insured, and bonded with that specific township. And then if you do get the repairs done, you have to get quotes. And then there needs to be a warranty. So a lot can happen if these items are not checked out the way they should be prior to the house being put online. And let alone that we have, does your home have any standing violations? If you did work to the property and you didn't pull permits, is there an issue there because permits weren't pulled? Is it a problem? Is it going to come up to where the agent, or not the agent, the attorney is going to say, "Hey, you're going to have to make a decision on whether or not you're going to buy the house or not," without knowing if there was a permit pulled or not? It happens all the time. Some people just they don't check. It's the responsibility of the owner to make a decision if they want to buy it or not. And if they buy it, great. If something ends up happening afterwards, then they make their decision. Normally, people don't fuss over it. They just go ahead and say, "Well, cool, we'll just fix it, or we'll hire somebody to come out here," and then bada bing, bada boom, you're pretty much you're done and you're in. But just to cover yourself, if there are any standing violations that can get caught beforehand, then at least you can negotiate those at the closing table to see if the seller is willing to cover any associated fees with said violations. Okay. So now we're going to talk about another really important thing here. It's pricing the home correctly. Now, pricing the home correctly, oh man, this one's a biggie. It's a biggie because many people out there are emotional people versus business people. Okay. And it's my job as a realtor to kind of help pull you to the right side of the force there. Okay. If you don't price your house properly and it sits on the market, realtors and buyers will start looking at your home as a spoiled home. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Overpriced homes have a median time in the market of about 53 days, which is roughly 94% longer compared to well-priced homes. Sitting longer means lower offers. So I want you to imagine that you put a for sale sign in front of your house, and then your neighbor puts one in front of their house. And both your houses look the same in the front. But 4 days later, your neighbor's house sells. But 45 days later, you notice that your for sale sign is still out in front of your house. Meanwhile, all these people are passing by in their cars and they go, "Hey, wasn't the house on the left for sale?" "Yeah, they sold in a week. What about the one on the right?" And then all of a sudden it becomes, "Well, I heard that that house has ghosts in it." And then the other person that passes by say, "Hey, wasn't that house is still on the market?" "Well, I heard it has flood damage." And then all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, I heard something bad happened at that house, and now they're having a hard time selling it." Your house will start to become the spoiled apple, the rotten apple. It will. People will make assumptions without really knowing. And what's the reason the house has been on the market for so long? Because 9 times out of 10, the house is on the market for too high of a price. Now, I understand that people have to pay off their mortgages. They maybe have second mortgages. Maybe they have like a mechanic's lien on it. They owe money for repairs that were done to the roof or the electrical, and they're struggling to pay that, and they have to pay. They have to sell the house for a certain amount of money. That conversation needs to be had, and those numbers need to be figured out before the house goes on the market, so that we can have a plan as to how we are going to attack those issues when it comes to selling the property, so your house doesn't become the spoiled one on the market. That's the last thing that a realtor like me wants to see in a house. So check this out. The house that you see in the photo here is fake. Okay, I got that off of a website, right? But the listing that you see here is what we realtors see in Illinois, what we see in Indiana, depending on where you're watching from. You'll notice that this house is actively on the market still. Okay, it was listed for $325 original list price, and it is still $325 after, check this arrow out here, the red arrow, 196 days. Okay, that 196 days was how long the property was on the market before they relisted it. They relisted it 39 days ago. So on the internet, it'll say 39 days. But when you pull the history, there's a whole nother 196 days. This property has been on the market for more than 240 days. It's a rehab. If I showed you the pictures of the interior, you'd be like, "Oh, I'd buy that house. It's beautiful." Okay. The property taxes are not $12,000. They're not $10,000. They're not $8,000. They're not $6,000. They're not $5,000. The property taxes are $2,500. I have clients right now that would kill for property taxes of $2,500. They bought their houses already. They're like $6,000 or $7,000 in property taxes. But here comes a property that's only $2,500. What's the problem? The problem is that listing price is way too high. Way too high. And how do I know? I pulled the data in the neighborhood. Properties in this area selling right now only last 11 days on the market. Why is this one 240 days? It's because it's overpriced, unfortunately. The builder that built it is like, "I'll just wait. Somebody will buy it." Yeah, they'll buy it, but they will have to drop their price. So if I was the buyer's agent, if I took you to buy this house, okay, the one that was this one right here. If I took you to buy this house that's listed at $325, okay, I would offer $305 right off the bat. No questions. "Hey, Antonio, how much should we offer for the house?" $305. Well, damn, how do you know 305? Well, because look how long it's been on the market. That that owner of that building of the owner of that property has a mortgage. They have to pay the crew that helped them build out the house. Okay. They want to sell the money so that they can go and flip the next house. And it's been in the market for 240. They're sick of it. And number five, the real estate agent wants to get paid. And number six, they probably haven't had an offer in 240 days. So if you want it, let me know, because guess what? We're going to offer 305 for it. We're going to take 20 grand off. And what's the worst that can happen? They're going to rebuttal us and say, no, we want 315. And then I'm going to say, really? Because you should go back in a time machine and adjust the price, because now I'm going to ask you I'll give you 307. Take it or leave it. My client's about to go and buy the other house down the block that's priced the right way. That's the way these things work in real estate. That's why you have to work with somebody like myself that's savvy to the market and to the powers of negotiation. I'm telling you. You see? That's me right there on the see? Look. Look at the guy on the right. That's the realtor that has that listing. He's like, "Oh my God. Oh, sweet Jesus. It's overpriced 20 grand. What are we gonna do?" And then I step in and I'm like, I'll tell you. I know exactly what it is that we're gonna do. We're gonna give you 20,000 less. That's why the guy looks like that. Okay. So good pricing breeds reduced time in the market, increased number of showings, which is important. And then it creates drives higher offers, and then it creates the Black Friday effect. So let's talk about that a little bit. When you price your home correctly on the market, it'll fly off the shelf right away. It'll be done. You can move on, go buy your next house, get your check, pay off your bills, do whatever you got to do. We're good. Okay. You'll know that it's priced correctly because you'll see a bunch of people show up to the house in the first 7 to 12 days. If by day 12 you haven't had a showing, you're overpriced. Even right now in the cold, today is January 1st. Okay. It's 11:21 at night in January 1st, but it's January 1st nevertheless. Even right now, there's properties that do not last a week on the market because they're priced correctly. People always have to buy. It's oh well, Tony, it's the winter. Well, if it's the winter, why do you have it on the market? You have it on the market because you know that people need to buy, and increase showings. If the people are out there, trust me, they'll show. If the house was $1 on the market, there'd be 1 million people standing outside offering you $2, $3, $4. Now, having the house priced correctly also drives higher offers. So let's say you wanted to get, I don't know, 350 for your house, 350. And I say, well, hold on, let's list it at 335, 339. We'll list it at 339. And you go, but Tony, I told you I wanted 350. Well, right. But we also want people to show up to the house to bid on it and to buy it. You go with my idea. We market it, put it on Facebook. We put it on every social media platform. All the agents in my brokerage show up. All of them, do social media and all that. You blast it out there. We're good. Now, all of a sudden, you get 1 offer, 2 offers, 3 offers. Guess what's going to happen? The first one's going to come at 385. And then I'm going to call and say, hey, we have 5 offers. What's your highest and best? Oh, well, we'll give you 390. Hey, guess what? We have an offer at 390. What's your highest and best? You know what? Grandma lives down the block. My kids got to go to that school. We'll give you 492. Take it or leave it. Hey, how much did you want for the house? Or 392. Hey, how much did you want for the house? Well, we wanted 400. Okay, hold on 1 second. Hey, listen, I can make this work. We have other offers on the phone. If you can give them 400, we'll do the deal right now. Right now. Guess what happens normally? Usually. Yes, the house gets sold for the price the client wants because we were able to create an atmosphere that's beneficial for the seller. That's the way that's done. That is the way that is done. I do it all the time. Oh, and by the way, there is an art to selling a house so that you can buy one. If you're in the position where you own a house already and you have to buy the next one with the money from the sale of the first one, that's a conversation that we have to have prior to putting the first house on the sale, because there's a timing issue. You want to make sure that when you leave your house, you have one to go to. But it can also affect the way you bid on your house when that you're trying to buy. You have to convince the next owners of the next property that you're going to buy to play ball with you, because you're still in the process of selling your house. There's a conversation to be had with that. Reach out to me if you want more information on that. Or I'll probably end up making a video about it. So, last thing on the list right now, before we talk about the PDF, as a bonus, is improve your curb appeal. Okay, very simple. If you don't know what a curb appeal is, go stand out in front of your house right now, and if you go, ugh, you need to improve your curb appeal. But if you go out and look at the front of your house and you go, nice job, I did a good job, my house is beautiful, then other people are going to think the same. Okay? Here are 5 things you can do to help improve your curb appeal. Number 1, add a fresh coat of paint to the exterior. Go find yourself a nice exterior paint at Home Depot or Menards, or wherever you get your exterior paint, and spruce up the place. Trust me, it's going to cost you $50 to do what you got to do, maybe to like the window panes outside, or the ledges or the windows. Just get it over with. Okay. Upgrade your front door. Yes. Do I mean go buy a new front door? Maybe. If it looks like the SWAT team tried to kick down your door, you need to go get a new door. Spend $200 or $300 so that people will even go into the house. Okay. Now we'll get to that. Update your landscaping. Get that lawnmower out. Trim the hedges. Go to a Home Depot. Buy those flowers that you never did for the 30 years you owned the place. Put them out there. Get your green thumb going. Go do that for the sake of you having people to come and try to even go into your house again. And then clean and repair your driveways and walkways if you can. Okay. Now let's talk about getting people to even show up. Here's what you need to understand. Okay. Sometimes, how can I put this? Put this in a crazy way. I got to go large on the screen for this. Okay. Sometimes when people are online looking at your property, they tell the realtors they saw it, but they don't want to go see your house without even looking at the interior pictures, because the very first photo that people see when they're online is the front of the house. And if the front of your house looks horrendous, they're not going to click the photos to look on the interior. Like 7 out of 10 times. Some looky-loos will go in and they'll look at it, but they'll be so affected by the first picture. They'll say, oh, the interior is nice, but just the front of that house, I don't know. And trust me, we do that all the time. We look at a restaurant, it looks hokey on the outside, and we go, nah, the food's probably terrible. Meanwhile, they have a Michelin star for flavor, and we're missing out because it looks like a hole in the wall, So do yourselves a favor and take care of your curb appeal. All right. So follow me if you're on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, or TikTok. If you like the content, I will be doing videos very, very, very much more often. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and maybe I'll respond by making a video with them. But if you wanted to schedule a free in-home consultation with me, I'm licensed in Illinois and Chicago and Indiana. I work in Northwest Indiana, the western suburbs, and of course the north side and south side of Chicago. And I'm available by going into the link in my bio. You click on the link, you'll see a request a consultation button, and you just go ahead and hit that, and we can be on our way. And then in that very same link that I pointed out to you that's in the bio, if you click it, you will see a PDF that says selling your home for the best profit. It looks like this on the screen right here to the right. When you click it, you put in your information, you hit enter, you get emailed a copy of that. That has a list of the most popular colors that are available in 2026, like the best paint colors. And then it gives you an onslaught of information of things that you can do in order to sell your house for the best profit possible, in my opinion, of course. And then let's see what else we got here. This is myself, and the young lady on the right is my wife. We're a real estate team. also high school sweethearts since 1999. But when you hire one realtor like myself, you actually end up with both of us. Okay. And that is it. That was selling your home for the best price. Guys, thank you so much for being coming along with me on this ride for the first video of 2020. What is that? 2026. Yeah, this is the first video for 2026, and it's been 35 minutes. I hit the nail on the head. So thank you guys so much. Let me know if you have any questions. My number is 708-205-7121. Make sure you follow me on whatever platform that you're on watching this, and I'll see you